Thank you very much, Tracy, and everyone for your questions. As Tracy mentioned, we'll have some time to mill about later, so I know she'd welcome your feedback and as well engage with one another. You have a booklet on your table, but not all of the answers are in the back of that book. We're gonna have to figure out some together, so think about that as we move forward. And to help us think about that and the role that we play, I have the honor of introducing our speaker for the day to think about how we can bring Vision 2030 to life. Originally from Australia and now residing in Vancouver, Michelle Ray is an award-winning keynote speaker, educator, author, and a respected thought leader. She has taught leadership skills to the Australian Army, the FBI, and some of the world's most recognizable brands, including an array of Fortune 500 companies, healthcare organizations, associations, and hospital systems around the world. As the CEO and founder of Real-Time Leadership Academy and Lead Yourself First Enterprises, Michelle has 3 decades of experience researching leadership, self-leadership, accountability, and change, as well as workforce trends. She's the author of 2 best-selling books, Lead Yourself First, Indispensable Lessons in Business and in Life, and Leading in Real Time, How to Drive Success in a Radically Changing World. Michelle is a self-described hockey fanatic. When she isn't outside enjoying the outdoors of British Columbia, you'll likely find her watching or listening to an NHL game. She hopes to witness her Vancouver team, the Canucks, win the Stanley Cup in her lifetime and is keeping the faith. I don't think it's going to be the year, Michelle, unfortunately. But hey. Michelle was inducted into the Canadian Speaking Hall of Fame in December 2021. We're really privileged to have her here with us today. Please join me in welcoming Michelle to Hamilton.
Thank you. So, Tracy has already provided you with some highlights of what you have already achieved, and I have them in my presentation as well. So I thought that, before we talk about what's changing and we talk about what's hard, it's very important to acknowledge that your leadership is making a significant difference to your teams, to your communities, and to your futures. And we should also realize that, we are in one of the most complex healthcare environments anywhere, yet we continue to deliver care that people trust. We are creating workplaces that want to be a part of, and we are maintaining excellent standards. And this doesn't happen by accident. It starts with leadership, and it starts with you. So we are going to have an action-packed session. Is everybody ready? It starts with you. I want to make sure that everybody is happy with who they're sitting with, and that we also realize thank you. This is going to be a highly interactive session, so it's really important. Do you agree that the more we enjoy ourselves in a presentation, the more we remember? Absolutely. So I believe that we should always do this and realize that we all have something to contribute, because every one of us has the opportunity to be the leaders of our own lives. And this is a day that we are celebrating this new Vision 2030. We're acknowledging where we already are and where we are going. And when we can be intentional, aligned, and fully future focused, it's incredible what we can achieve. So we want to acknowledge each other. And I want you to just take a moment. I want you to just look at who is around your table. I want you to smile at everyone. I want you to please put your hand on somebody's shoulder, please. I want you to look at them in the eyes. Yes. That's right. Exactly. Wait a minute. Hold on. And I wanted you to just tell each other, I want you to look at each other, and I want you to just, with your hand firmly on somebody's shoulder, and I want you to say, you are a legend, and I'm happy I'm here with you. Come on, just tell them. Absolutely. Yes. Thank you. Thank you. Yes. You see, it's really, the questions that were asked, I love the question that you asked about, how do we, I wrote it down, so let me just see. I think it was Danny, it was a gentleman over there. You asked, how do we build that learning and curiosity into our culture, right? And really, it's about modeling it. It's about, it's about how we show up, right? It's all about how you decide to see yourself. And that's why I really believe that leadership isn't a title. It isn't about a strategy. It isn't about a system. It's about how it starts with you. And that's why, as we heard, we need to recognize what we've already done, because when we show how we appreciate each other, when we demonstrate how we appreciate others, we are more likely to get buy-in. Don't you agree? When we acknowledge other people and what they've done and what they're doing, and we're very specific about it, that's how we start to build those relationships. And I am here to help you to be bold, to be ready, and to be real. And I know you've just heard from Tracy, and some of you might be wondering, how am I going to integrate this Vision 2030 into my day-to-day? How am I going to prioritize my patients? How am I going to keep, achieving those metrics and manage my workload and manage my personal life? And maybe some of you are wondering, if you just take another look around you again, you might be wondering, boy, you know what? We're going to be here for the morning. I just want you to, you might be thinking, how am I going to sit with all these people at this table all for the rest of the morning? I don't know, just take a quick look just in case somebody gets a little bit of whiny or negative, can you just check them out one more time? Because this is your last chance to move, okay? I want you to be happy with who you're sitting with. That's right. Everybody's okay with who they're sitting with? Excellent, excellent. It really is about us. It really is about making that decision to be bold, to be ready, and to be real. And I'm going to explain what that means as we go through this presentation. And, my aim for you today is to help you to reduce that overwhelm, to maintain your best practices, and to keep serving your communities with that enthusiasm and that passion. And it really does start with our mindset. So, now we're all pretty sure that we don't have any complainers around us, right? Okay, we're going to do this for about 60 seconds, very quickly. I'd like all of you to stand up, please. Everybody stand up, if you're able to. If you're able to. Thank you. Now, you don't have to venture too far away, but as I ask you to do this, I know it's going to get very loud in this room. I just want you to find someone, maybe in close proximity, who you haven't had a conversation with. So I'm going to wait for you to do this, and I'm going to ask you, please just find a new friend. Very quickly, find a new friend, somebody that you haven't spoken to yet today.
Hi, old friend. I'm good, how are you?
This is great.
You look really cool. And by the way, you are a legend.
Okay.
Oh, did you miss that part?
Yeah.
Oh, we all had to hold hands and say we are a legend.
Oh, really?
All right, hold on. Thank you. If you can hear me at the front of the room, I want you to clap once. 1, 2, 3. If you can hear me in the front of the room, I want you to clap twice. 1, 2, 3.
Sorry, I just thought she was talking to me.
If you can all hear me, I want you to clap 3 times. 1, 2, 3. We have to do it again. If you can hear me, I want you to clap 4 times. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right. Now we've got everybody's attention. Okay. Here's what I want you to do. You're going to take 60 seconds, 30 seconds each, because one of the things Tracy mentioned is the importance of building relationships. When we build relationships, that's a great leadership trait to have. So what I want you to do right now is I want you to talk about what's good. And when I say what's good, let's focus not on work for just a moment. Let's talk about something you were excited about that's going on in your life, something you were looking forward to, something you are anticipating with positive anticipation, something that's happening in your life. What is good? I want you to take 30 seconds each to share that with each other. Are you ready? Go. All right. Thank you. Thanks, everybody. Thank you. All right. Thank you, thank you. Okay. Now, before we hear about all the great things, because I really want to hear them, you know, I'm really curious. Whenever we partner up with someone, I don't know whether you noticed which person started talking first. Can you know, I want to hear your ideas. Can you just, if you're in a twosome there, can you just quickly decide who is A and who is B in terms of who's going to go first and share their ideas? Just quickly decide between the two of you, who's A and who's B? Who's going to be A, who's going to be B? Okay. I thank you. Okay. Thank you. Let's be real here. We can't really hear 400 ideas all at once. But you know what I wanted you to just have a chance to do? Because you're all leaders, I wanted you to have a quick personality test in case you weren't sure. Because the control freak, dominant personality just looked at you and said, "You're A." Right. It's true. Okay. Fantastic. No, really, we've got mic runners here. Rosita's going to help me. I want you to, who just heard something amazing, something you're looking forward to? Come on, let's just hear some of these things quickly. What's good? Yell them out.
I'm standing beside an author.
You're standing beside an author. Awesome. You've got a book coming out?
Oh, it went right to you.
Yeah,
Woo! That's fantastic. That is fantastic.
yeah. The book actually is not in medicine, and it's not in English. I was telling her that for the last couple of years, I have been writing my reflections and comments on 1,001 books I've read. So the title of my book will be A Journey Through 1,001 Book.
Isn't that amazing? Congratulations. Fantastic. Thank you. Okay, some other things you're looking forward to, excited about. There was so much noise in the room, it was awesome. Yes, we got somebody over there. Big voice. Thank you.
My friend Keisha Jack is going to be going to Singapore, Malaysia, and Thailand this year.
Wow, fabulous. Okay, what else? Come on, big one. Something you're anticipating, looking forward to. You can tell all of us. Yeah.
I'm not handy at all, and yesterday I fixed my humidifier, so I'm super excited to fix other things. I can't fix most things.
Okay. Awesome. Thank you. All right, let's take another one. Let's take another one. Come on, one more. Something you're really looking forward to.
Anyone on the other side?
There was so much.
Michelle, over here.
Over there. Okay, fantastic. Right here in the middle.
My friend George has been approved to donate a kidney.
Oh, wow. Thank you. That is incredible. I want you to thank your partner, and everybody take a seat. Thank you, thank you. Excellent. Thank you. So, isn't it amazing? Isn't it amazing when we start a conversation on the positive? How many of us open conversations with a positive? What a great question to ask. In my experience, I've found that at work, it isn't the absence of motivators that's the problem, it's the existence of demotivators that's the problem. And usually, those are intangible. And one that we can eliminate is by changing the conversation, focusing on the positive. You know, we have experiences every day, as Tracy was saying, we are affecting people's lives every day, we are dealing with people's lives every day, and I try to remember that too. I try to remember that because I feel very honoured and privileged to do the work that I've been doing for the last 31 years. And I just wanted to share this with you because this young lady, Malia, she was in the hotel when I checked in. And I started up a conversation with her and talking to her about what's good and how much she enjoys her job. And I was absolutely blown away. And she actually did this. She just had to do it for me. She printed out, this is all her reviews on, the TripAdvisor. All her positive reviews. There are pages and pages of reviews from Malia about her work at TripAdvisor, on TripAdvisor. But you know what she shared with me? She said, I'm passionate to build my career. And she said, I believe she said she's interviewed at Mount Joe's. She wants to get into your profession. She is so good with people. She's so good at the front line. So if you want to take a screenshot, Director of People Services, there's her phone number, there's her email. I promised I would tell her, and I was talking to all of you today. She is amazing. She would be a great asset. Let's be real. We know that in the work that we're doing, we're dealing with talent shortages. We're dealing with stresses in our system, but there's so much that we can control, and it's who we connect with, who we communicate with, and how we carry ourselves in the conversation. And she had a major impact and influence on me, and I just wanted to honor her and say, yeah, I hear you. You want to build your career. And we have teams here that are building their careers. Many of you are starting your leadership journey. And I really believe that when we focus on the positive, we increase the opportunities to get more support, to get more buy-in. We create the conditions for people to thrive and excel. Wouldn't you agree? Absolutely. So focus on the positive. Start those conversations with what's good. I've had the honour of working, as you heard in the introduction, with many healthcare associations, health systems. I worked at one time with the Ontario healthcare system when they were dismantling the LINS program. Some of you might remember that, the LINS system. That was a very tumultuous time. That was a number of years ago now, but we've moved through that. Just like we move through every challenge or adversity, we can put them in the rearview mirror and say, wow, we really did do that. I've also worked with healthcare systems in the US. And when I reflect on what Tracy was saying about all the incredible initiatives with research, with innovation, and how your community is being recognised, your region is being recognised all over the world for what you're doing. Well, there are some regions in the States right now and there's so much uncertainty. And there's uncertainty in terms of what will happen with their research and their budgets. And Tracy wanted me to say, don't worry, there's lots of money. There's lots of money. And we're moving our mindset out of the pandemic and into a new era, and it's so important that we focus on, as I said, focus on the good and all the contributions that we're making. And in all of the work that I've done, I have had the opportunity to share what I'm going to share with you today, and that is looking at the characteristics of self-leadership. Now, in the time that we have, you can see that there are 6 up here. We're going to cover them all, but we are going to focus predominantly on 2. Confidence underlines everything. We're going to spend our time on the accountability piece and the rise above piece, because it goes without saying that we need to be that best version of ourselves. Now, I'm really curious when it comes to your self-talk, your communication. Do you ever talk to yourself? Yes. Some of you might not be sure. You might be thinking right now, do I talk to myself? Well, what does it sound like? How we carry ourselves, thinking about our accountability and our responsibility to take ownership. I believe that we need to think about what we do in a different way. Because as I said, leadership is all about our character. It's not about our title. So I would like you to do this very quickly to make sure that we really get this and we understand. So what I want you to do, some of you, there are 2 people at your table. Some of you, there are odd numbers, even numbers. I want you to do this in a twosome or a threesome, okay, with nothing in your hands, please, not looking at me. I want you to look at either 1 or 2 people deeply in the eyes. Come on, deeply in the eyes at your table. All right. Thank you. All right. Thank you. All right, and now what I'd like you to do is I want you to repeat these 3 things as you're looking at each other. You ready? Okay, here we go. Look at each other, not at me. And I want you to just repeat it. I am an influencer. Okay, I am a collaborator. And I am an experience creator. And you can add so there at the end. Very good. Thank you. That is who we are. So I want you to remember, am I right? You are an influencer. Do you influence situations? Throughout your entire leadership career, you are going to influence situations. How many of you can remember the first leader that you ever had? Maybe they're sitting next to you, so you want to say, yeah, they were fantastic. Do you remember? I remember mine. It was a long time ago, but I remember their voice. I remember their demeanor. I remember how they were with me. I remember what they looked like. Do you remember all of those things as well? So we should never underestimate the power of our influence. That's one thing that will never change. How you carry yourself. We can choose to be collaborators. We collaborate with our other stakeholders, the partnerships that we have, and we create experiences for people. That's what great leaders do. We want to create the optimum experiences for people. And as you know, because all of you are going through the LEADS program, it starts with leading us. Leading ourselves. We can't lead others and we can't engage others until we lead ourselves first. And so we are accountable to ourselves. And I believe that the word accountability has been given a bad rap. In fact, I prefer the word ownership. How about you? Taking ownership versus taking responsibility. Taking ownership. So we all take that ownership, we all take that responsibility. By the way, all of you in the material on the table, just in case you haven't seen it yet, you have the top 10 tips from this presentation. I just wanted to let you know it's there. And if you want to do this, rather than having reams of paper, on the back of this top 10 tips, there's room for you to jot down hot ideas, and they will come from other parts of the room, as you're about to experience, not only from the front of the room. So please make sure that you have that, keep that, it's a little keepsake from me to you. So I want you to try this right now. And we're going to take, it's another short little interlude, but we're going to do it at our table. And what I want you to do is, I want you to take a minute to talk about with each other what accountability looks like in your area, your unit, your department right now. What does accountability look like right now? Some of you might be thinking, I know what it looks like. I also might want to throw in there where I want it to be, okay? That aspirational piece. So just take a minute and talk about what accountability looks like in your area, in your department right now. Go. At your table, 60 seconds. All right, 15 seconds. Okay. Thank you. Now, this is a big question, and it takes some introspection, and a lot of introspection, actually, when it comes to thinking about where we want that accountability to go, what we want it to look like. Now, I know that, this is a busy morning. We're going to get back to work. We've had an early start to the day. Maybe you always start your day early. And we want to stay energized. So what I'd like you to do, if you're able to, please, I want to show you a little bit more about accountability in action. Everybody, I'd like you, if you can, if you're able to put your right hand up in the air. Please. Okay, beautiful. If you can, that's great. Thank you. Now get a good twirling motion happening with your right hand. Can you feel it now? Come on, twirl it faster and faster. That's it. Keep on twirling. Beautiful. Now I want you to focus on your index finger. Keep on twirling, keep on twirling. Fantastic. And now at your table, I want you to point to your spokesperson. Delegate that person, please. Did you point at each other? Yeah. Yes. Isn't that amazing? Did you notice that the fingers went in every direction? You see, this is what happens when we talk about accountability. But accountability, as you heard from Tracy this morning, it's one of your core values. So where are we pointing that finger? No, you do it. No, you do it. No, you do it. Passing the buck, right? But the real direction needs to be in this way. We need to be pointing the finger this way. I'm going to put my hand up. Let it start with me. We can't wait, as we heard, for all the people above us to do it. Vision 2030 is a collaboration, and it's an individual mission that we have. So I want you to think about that accountability starts with me. You're entrusted to take care of what you need to do. This is what is part of the vision. That you can take care of what is right in front of you. That's all you need to worry about. That's what you need to think about and recognize your part in the big picture. It's amazing, when you ask people, I've done this a few times and the response is usually the same, but I actually had one time where a person actually gave me this finger, if you know what I mean, in a presentation. What would you do if someone did that to you? And you're not in your car. That person actually got very animated and did not look very happy, and they didn't participate in anything. And I remember this was like, when you have a bad experience, by the way, with someone at work, you remember it in detail for 23 and a half years. So, because this is my workplace, I will always remember that. And when I found out why this person was so agitated, and he stood up in front of the entire room, I'll never forget it, it's never happened since, he looked around the entire room and he said, I can't listen to you for one more minute. He said, I can't stand the sound of your voice, and I am leaving now, Michelle Ray. And then he told the entire room why, and there was no stopping him. I couldn't stop him, and he said, because you remind me of my ex-wife. And he was out the door, and there was nothing I could do about it. But really, it's true. That responsibility, it starts with us, and accountability, it's such an important thing. And so how we get the results that we get, all of some of the questions that were asked of Tracy earlier, how do we go about it? Remember, it starts with us. People notice. They recognize the impact that we have. And we want to be that best version of us and that role model. And it's important to understand what accountability actually means. So I want you to remember this. Are you willing to take ownership for the results of all of your actions, regardless of whether the outcome is a success or not? And I heard the word humility, and I love that word. As leaders, we need to realize, even if things do go off the rails sometimes, there's no perfection, as you know, certainly in healthcare. But we want to realize that the word humility is actually very attractive. Humility is not humiliation. Humility is strength. Being transparent, being open is one of the most desirable traits that we can display as leaders. And I think it's so important to remember, as leaders, we need to be like this with people. And not like this. And definitely not like this. This is how we want to lead. I want to walk alongside you. I want to support you. I'm with you. When I started my leadership journey in my career, it wasn't like that. The leadership model was very much this way. We revered our leaders. Maybe some of you remember that. Don't you think that was true? We revered our leaders. We put them on a pedestal. But we earn that credibility. We earn that respect just as much as we want other people to give us that respect. But we can't get other people to buy into the vision unless we have bought into it ourselves, until we are modeling every aspect of the vision and the strategic aims and the values. So are you sold on that vision? That's what we need to be. We need to be sold on it to get other people sold on it. People can feel it, right? They can feel the type of leader that we are. And there have been many instances where we've had to have the journey that we've had. We've gone down the path and things haven't always been easy, certainly in leadership. And for those of you that are new to your careers, how many of you are frontline leaders, kind of new, the last one or 2 years in the room? 3 years? Hands up, everybody. I want you to take a look around. Hands up, boldly, proudly. Let's give them all a hand. Yes. Woo. That is fantastic. It might surprise you, but many years ago, I haven't always been doing this. They say public speaking is the number one fear in the world. You know what the number 7 fear is in the world? Death. Public speaking is 1. Shall we put that into perspective? That means most people would rather be lying in the casket than giving the eulogy. I guess that's how we look at it. But in another lifetime, when I was still living in Sydney, Australia, I was working in the advertising industry. And we landed the most incredible opportunity, cinema advertising, to be more specific. Do you know when you go to the movies and you see those slides that come up and they're advertising a small business and they've got a voiceover that runs with the ad? Have you ever seen those ads? That's a big business. And it was really exciting because we landed this contract to sell advertising at the biggest cinema complex that had ever been built in the Southern Hemisphere. But this was in the middle of one of the deepest, darkest recessions the world was going through, Australia was going through. And even though we landed this opportunity, my sales team was having trouble getting appointments. They were having trouble getting business because people were only interested in one thing: survival. Business people, small business people, how can I get through the next day? Interest rates 18, 20%, whatever they were. Now, I don't know if you've ever done this. Have you ever gone cold calling? Anyone ever done any door knocking, cold talk? Oh yeah, isn't that fun? So I decided I needed to show my team how it's done, so I went out there. I drove out to this neighbourhood where the cinema complex was being built. It was pouring cats and dogs, and I'll never forget it. The first call was an absolute disaster. And I'm sitting back in my car and I'm watching the windshield wipers going back and forth, and I'm thinking, how am I going to do this? So I started to pray and I said, God, if you were listening to me, I'm willing to do anything, even if it's illegal or immoral. Show me what to do. And I looked across the street and there was a flashing neon sign. It had been there the whole time, but I hadn't seen it. And it said, costumes for hire. So I had this out-of-body experience and I started running across the street into the store. And I saw all of these outfits like you'd see for Halloween. And my eyes, I looked at this, immediately it struck me, this beautiful bodysuit, shimmery little number. I thought, oh my gosh, no. So I grabbed the bodysuit and I went into the fitting room and I put it on. And I'm looking at myself in the mirror, and 1 minute I'm Michelle Ray, the sales manager. I'm Michelle Ray, the sales manager, and the next I am cold calling Catwoman. So I got the mask, I got the cape, I jumped into my Batmobile, and I hit the streets and I started having the time of my life dressed like that, knocking on doors. It was such an exhilarating experience, making sales. My whole mindset changed. And I remember as I had driven into this particular neighborhood, on the way in, early in the day, I noticed an auto mall, this huge business. So it was already like 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and I thought, I am going to give this a shot. Still raining cats and dogs, drove into the auto mall, parked my car right in front of a body shop. This young man sees me getting out of my car. He's trying to stop himself from laughing. And he sees me and my cape is flapping in the wind. And he said, "Can I help you?" I said, "Yes, I'm looking for the mall manager." And he pointed to a building not all that far away, this makeshift rickety building, I'll never forget. He said, "He's in there. That's the guy you want if you were looking for the mall manager." So I didn't even move my car. I started running to the building. And I climbed up the stairs and I knocked on the door. And it creaked open. And there is a gentleman looking through the crack in the door with a pair of horn-rimmed glasses. And he looks me up and down and he says, "I don't know who you are, and I don't know what you want, but you have my attention." I spent 2 hours with this gentleman, Mr. Noel McMahon. I walked out of there with a 5-figure contract. It was like $25,000, and I'm not telling you that story to impress you about me. But I learned something about myself that day, about taking a risk and getting way out of my comfort zone. If I was going to do something important, which is to show my team what was possible. Because you never know where all of these experiences are going to take you. I couldn't have imagined where that experience was going to take me many years before I had moved to Canada. But I'm going to tell you, because that story that I just shared with you, many years later, ended up right here on the front page of the Globe and Mail's Report on Business, Leadership Lab column. How dressing up as Catwoman earned me new business. Because I was writing about leadership. I was writing about accountability. I want you to believe in yourself, because it was something Erin said also at the beginning. You talked about trust, Erin. And leadership starts with trusting ourselves. And I feel that when it comes to doing our work, we need to remember the famous quote from the famous poet Anonymous. "Many an open mind should be closed for repairs." So it's about opening your minds to the possibilities. Oh, by the way, I still have the outfit. My husband loves it. Occasionally I put it on for our grandchildren too. I got married later in life and I have 2 beautiful grandchildren. Had a lot of fun with them. I love that time when they were very small. They're teenagers now. It's still beautiful. It's still good. So we can decide to keep our minds open. That's how we're going to have success. Opening our minds. And I know you mentioned this too, Tracy. And sometimes we have to dare ourselves to do things differently. Just like this little guy up here. It's all about your perspective. All about your perspective. Let me show you what I mean by perspective. You can all see what I have in my hand. Yes? And it's real. I want you to follow along as I show you about the power of your perception and why this is relevant. I want you to imagine right now that we are not here in Hamilton at a presentation. I want you to imagine that we are in the Okanagan Valley of British Columbia and we are farmers. All right. What would this represent to you? If you were a farmer? Prosperity, livelihood. Okay, now I want you to switch. You work for a certain computer company. What would it be? Logo. Okay. Now switch again. You are a teacher. What would it be? A gift. It's a nice word. How about this? You are either Adam or Eve. Temptation. What about if you're a worm? What would it be? Lunch. Who is right? Everyone's right. Because your perception is your reality. So no one can argue with your perception. Someone else's perception is their reality, and no one can argue with their perception. There were various questions as well this morning about how do I get my team to whatever fill in the blank we might like. It's all about getting a shift in perspective. And when we get that shift in perspective, it starts with us opening our minds to possibilities, the way that we communicate, the way that we connect, the way that we ask the right questions. That's how we get that expansive thinking. And that's how some of the greatest leaders, the greatest success stories have happened, is when people have risen to the challenge, the adversity, risen above the adversity, open their minds to possibilities, dare themselves to do things differently to achieve an incredible outcome. I dare you to open your minds to new possibilities. December 2007. There were two gentlemen attending a tech conference and found themselves on the snowy streets of Paris. And they were unable to get a taxi back to their accommodation after a big day at the conference. Do any of you know who those two guys were? Travis Kalanick, true story, and Garrett Camp, the founders of Uber. And in that moment, they had an epiphany that changed the world, changed transportation as we know it. In the middle of a snowstorm, whatever situation you are facing in your role, remember there are always two ways or more of looking at it. Do you see Vision 2030 as a challenge, or do you see it as an opportunity to rise above, to make it happen? Because if we can see adversity or challenges with this kind of lens, it's amazing what we can do. And we need to rise above. We need to rise above because that's the way that we shift out of complacency, because if we're going to have success, we do need to shift. So we need to keep building. We need to move out of self-doubt or negativity. when it creeps in. We need to hold on to that belief. But sometimes, we have these habits, we have these ways of doing things that hold us back. Now, when you have the capacity to rise above, I would like to demonstrate to you what it can look like. This is so powerful. This is an exercise. My hope is that you are going to remember this long after this session ends. This is going to be only the second and last time, if you're able to, that I would like all of you to stand up, please. Okay. Thank you. So now, with anybody, I guess, closest to you, you're just going to do this with one person. You can do it with with two, others if you like. What I want you to do is quickly get next to someone, and I want you to find one person, maybe two, and I want you to please, we're going to practice some hands-on leadership. I want you to put your palms against your partner's palms. Come on, palms against palms. Okay, fantastic. Now, thank you. Just like we did before, we're going to decide who is A and who is B, or 3 if there's a C. Okay, can you quickly decide? All right. Now, this is going to be incredible. Watch what happens. Okay, you ready? You know who's A, B, C? Okay. If you are a B or a C, I want you to push on A. Come on, push. Okay, A, what are you doing? Come on, B, push harder, give it to them. A, what are you doing? One more time, push back, B, come on. Okay, stop, hands down. Thank you, stay standing. Stay standing, okay. Now, do any of you know why we did that? Have you figured it out? Apart from having a little energizer. Okay, let me help you. Please raise your hand if you're a B or a C and you pushed. Why? Because I told you to, I know. Okay, how many of you A's pushed? Very interesting. And how many of you don't put up your hands in a presentation? This is the most important question of all. How many of you A's did not push? Ooh, this is quite amazing. Wow, we've got more hands. That's fantastic. Now, you have big voice, please, because we may not have time with the microphone. Why not? Let everybody hear you. Why didn't you push, please? This gentleman looking at me. Yep. You just kind of held your ground, you were supporting. Excellent, yes. Big voice. Why didn't you push back? I'm waiting to hear. You didn't have I love it. You didn't have role clarity? Oh my gosh, or you just were being too polite. No, you do it. No, you do it. Okay. Why else did you not push back? It's a very rare thing that people don't push back. I'm curious if anyone didn't. Looking for, yes. Oh, I love it. Give her a hand. It's easier. Thank you. It's easier. Everybody take a seat. That is so insightful. That is brilliant. Okay. What is your name? You said that's easier. I want to pass this back. Here's a little koala for you. I just was in Australia visiting my family. Can you, pass it to her, please. Thank you. Okay, awesome. What's your name? What's your first name? Georgia. Thank you, Georgia. Okay. When we feel a force coming at us, it might be some kind of change or uncertainty. It was a situation that may not have been of our own making. Our natural inclination is to do what? Push back. Instead of being able to take a moment and not catch the herd mentality, the negativity, but to take a step back and go, wait a minute, maybe there's another way. That's being counterintuitive. That's about rising above. That's what we want to be as leaders, counterintuitive, to go against the grain and not do, not react, but find a way to respond. Again, it's all about the lens that we choose to view the world. It's about you making up your mind. What lens are you using? How do you see yourself? From the possible, the impossible to the possible, it all starts with you. So as we're getting ready to close this presentation, there's one more activity at your table that I would like you to do. I know that the team that brought me here today, they very much want you to do this too, because it's a little mini breakout. So when you think about all the ideas that we've shared, and they haven't all come from me, I want you to be thinking about, what do you want your leadership to be known for leading up to Vision 2030? This is your words. There's no wrong answer. This is what I want you to think about. It can be one word to define what you want your leadership to look like. Might be one or two words. You can share this with others at your table, and then we're going to get ready to wrap up. Everybody, please, take a moment. What do you want your leadership to look like? I started 15 minutes late, so how you doing?
Very inspirational.
Almost finished. 2 more minutes. Caitlin said it was. Thank you, everyone. Thank you. Thank you. I trust you enjoy the opportunity for some self-reflection in the exercise that you just did. Because what it demonstrates is, again, it starts with you. And what I want you to be thinking about is a kind of reality you are creating. The biggest lesson that I learned from my mentors, and the biggest mentor in my life, was my father. It was the capacity to trust myself. You're in a role that requires you to make hard decisions, but you can make them. You're in a role that requires you to prioritize carefully. Someone wise once said to me, we don't have time to do everything, but we always have time to do the most important things. So how you rise above the distractions, the pressures, the self-doubt, to be able to make decisions your way. At the heart of it all, it really is about self-trust. Because our number one goal is to serve our community, to serve our patients, and to serve our teams, and to serve ourselves first. You can be bold, just like Catwoman. You can be ready for any opportunity, just like Travis Kalanick and Garrett Camp. And you can be real in having authentic connections, just like my mother-in-law. This is my favorite ever photo of my mother-in-law with my grandson Caden when he was 18 months old. He just turned 18, which blows my mind. And unfortunately, my mother-in-law isn't with us anymore. And we lost her the same week that we lost Queen Elizabeth, 2022. It was still during COVID time, and very few people were allowed into the hospital, into her room to visit her. My husband, my brother-in-law, me, we had to take turns. And so I wasn't able to be there as much as I wanted to be when she got really sick. I was in the house, in her house, and I felt the essence of her all around me, and I started reflecting and thinking about the impact that she had had on me. And I glanced around the living room, and on the table I noticed this beautiful jigsaw puzzle. My mother-in-law loved cryptic jigsaw puzzles. And I remember my brother-in-law telling me while he was in the hospital, he said to his mum, "Mum, you got to come home because you haven't finished the puzzle." And she said to him, "Oh, it's okay. There weren't very many pieces left, just the sky. And the sky are the easiest parts." And I remember when he told me that, I started thinking, yeah, that's an easy thing for her to say, but not so easy for us to do, because every time I look at the sky, I am going to think of her. You have every piece of the puzzle in this room and in your workplace. You have your passion, you have your purpose, you have your patience, you have your people as you get ready to execute on this vision. And you now have the tools that you need to be bold, to be ready, and to be real. Because leadership starts and ends with you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Aaron.
Yeah.
So hard for you to get up here.
Got to give it a minute, but I get there. Thanks very much, Michelle. Once again, folks, just join me in thanking Michelle for her
Thank you.
presentation today. And I can say that was impactful for me. I feel bolder, and I do appreciate you sharing with us, in particular, that how our accountability, perspective, and a dose of optimism can help us to shift our perspective. And keeping in mind,
You said bolder, not older, right?
Yes.
Bolder. Okay, I wasn't sure.
both actually,
Okay.
but nonetheless. But your invitation to shift our perspective on those fronts is important. Today is LeaderSHIFT. And as we do look about the room and think of the puzzle analogy, each of us can play a role in completing the vision that we talked about today. And it's not done. It's for each of us to do. And your invitation is an important one. And we thank you for being a part of today with us. I can say, folks, it is time for a break. So we have 15 minutes. So just past quarter to the hour, we'll reconvene. You'll get a prompt. There are some snacks out in the front. Please take a moment, connect with your colleagues, and we'll call you back shortly. Thank you.